This is Hacking the Afterlife podcast with Jennifer Schaefer. Jennifer!
Richard!
How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I am super califragilisticexpialidocious. I think that's a word, isn't it?
I think so. If it's not, we'll just make it into a word.
I'm good. We missed you last week. You were somewhere partying.
I had 6
Working.
events. I did work a lot. I had 6 events in 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So for anybody that wants to go to my events, you kind of need to sign up early. They always get sold out. And
You got some coming up, don't you?
I do. I have one the day after Mother's Day, which is sold out. I think Wednesday. Yeah, I do.
Are they all down in your neck of the woods or different cities?
I did one in Malibu. I did one in Palm Springs. You know, that was more for friends / bachelorette party. I did one, did 2 in my office. One was at the Well and Good place, and the other one was at Uncorked. So yeah, I mean, I go everywhere.
That's hilarious. All right, well.
Official day off. Like I finally had a day off where I didn't look into anything.
Well, that sounds like my day. My day in general, I don't look into anything either. But, you know, I have you, and I might as well utilize your gifts as best I can.
Yes.
And so let's ask Luana if she's got anybody that now Luana's our friend on the flip side who does the same thing that Jennifer's doing, which is basically chatting to us or helping people on the flip side to chat with us. And she's our keeper of the list of names.
So she just put Blakey in my mind's eye, and I just need to ask her and it was probably because I thought about, you know, I opened up a day, which was Blake's birthday, since she's going to be with her friends. But it's the same day as Luana's, the 12th of May.
Oh, and so Luana's birthday's coming up. We should have a national holiday.
We should, May 12th, with my beautiful daughter. And Luana, hold on a second. That's so funny. They just said, you know, that you don't have to worry about where she's going for school. Okay.
For your daughter. Yeah, that's right. Your daughter, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it, Mom, because wherever she's going is the place she's supposed to go.
Right. Okay. So go ahead. Ask me some questions or ask Luana.
Well, Lou, so is there anybody on your VIP list that we need to talk to or that wants to come forward, or what do you want to chat about?
Elvis again? You know I'm not thinking this, but it's just so bizarre. Hold on. I saw Elvis, George Harrison, and then Marilyn. And I don't know, I'm trying not to judge it, because I know there's something that's out, because I remember seeing a brief blurb about Marilyn, the tapes that are out, and it's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, some new Netflix thing.
I have not watched it, but that popped in after, not before. So something that you've been working on this morning, they're mentioning. So
okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's good. That's fine. Those 3 people aren't involved, but
they're not, but
it might be Luana's way of like scrolling through names. Well, let me ask you, Lou, do you want to talk about the 2 people that I've been sort of working on? You do. Okay. All right. So I want to put it's a man and a woman. I'm going to put the man's first name in Jennifer's mind. His name is Harry.
Okay.
And the woman's name, her first name is Greta.
Okay. They're both on the other side, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's what they told me. But it's not Harry Dean. It's not Harry Dean.
It's not Harry Dean Stanton. No, we love Harry. Harry's always a fun person to talk to. This is another Harry. I was having a conversation with a friend, and Harry popped in, and I thought, oh, that's unusual. And then because of Harry popping in, he brought his friend Greta.
Got it.
So the question, we're not.
Okay, so I just saw the man from Willy Wonka, Charlie and Factory. I know that's not him, but
Gene Wilder, yeah.
Gene Wilder. Does Gene Wilder have anything to do with them?
either one of these folks. Well, not career wise, but if Gene, here's the thing, our audience knows I'm not testing you in any way.
No, I know that. And I'm not trying to. So I don't know why.
Well, that's why I was going to then ask. So Gene, so if Luana wants to talk about this in general, we can. If she wants to invite these people to talk with us, we can do that too. We can just focus on those people.
They're here.
Okay, they're both of them are here. All right, so Harry.
Okay, it's more of like a Fred Astaire kind of. I feel like there's
that era. Yes. Let's elegant. So he's probably dressed up. Are you seeing him that way? Okay.
I was thinking like in a top hat, in a like that.
Okay. Yes. All right. So he was a performer who would appear looking like that, and that is a little bit earlier than that era, but that same era roughly. And Harry, do you want to show Jennifer what it is that you did in life?
Was he a magician?
Yes, he was. That's correct.
Right. I got shown that, but
it's all right. Well, that's why I asked. And Harry, do you want to give?
Not Houdini.
Yes, that is his name. Yes, Harry Houdini is his name.
Didn't know Houdini's name.
Okay, that's fine. His real name is not Harry Houdini. Okay, that's fine. We don't have to dig into that. The reason I invited him, I'm inviting him, is because I had a conversation with him the other day via a friend of mine. We just happened to be doing one of my Martini Method sessions. Mm-hmm. And she said, I know this is going to sound weird, but he's here. And I asked him a series of questions. So, Harry, because I said, when we talked that we could do this, triangulate this, which is have other people talk to you.
Right.
So, Harry, what first?
I made it difficult for me, but you have to understand I was watching Arrested Development, and the last scene was a magic show. It's so funny to me. It's just, anyway.
So, Harry.
My head.
Introduce yourself to Jennifer. Have you met Jennifer before?
He says briefly.
Briefly. And is that because of us or somebody else?
It was because I was at Lilydale. He's showing me when I went to Lilydale in upstate New York. So I don't know.
And the person that I was talking to also was in Lilydale, my friend who has studied with Lisa. And so that's how.
Well, that's what Lisa popped into my head as well.
Okay, so that would be the connection. So, Harry, I'm going to ask you some of the same questions I asked you the other day. Who was there to greet you when you crossed over? Or what was the first person that sort of made themselves known to you?
I feel like my first impression was mother, but then I got a child. Or somebody that was a child.
Okay, very good.
And so that was part of it. He says that he was, and I don't know how he passed, but give me a second. He says he was gone before he was gone.
Okay. In terms of your passing, I know that there was an injury that happened. Do you want to show Jennifer what that was?
Felt like a brain injury.
Well, you know how we've talked about this, like the brain stops.
He's showing me underneath water. He's showing me I'm sure those are all the stuff that he used to do. I don't know. Hold on.
Well, no, it was related. It was related to that. But physically, there was an issue.
It was, I don't know. It felt with his heart. I don't know. I can't.
Well, like we've done this. We've talked about this before because your heart does give out when you die. It's pretty much. No, but I look, we're not, again, this is also to demonstrate that Jennifer hasn't done any research. She doesn't know that he died of peritonitis.
I wouldn't even know what that is.
That's okay. But there was this apocryphal story of a guy backstage punching Harry in the stomach, like a burst appendix.
So it felt like he was getting punched, but I just felt like it was around the heart area.
Okay. But my point is only that it's to show that you haven't researched this. You have.
Gosh, we never.
We haven't talked. I know we haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. So, Harry, beyond that, let's talk about your journey.
He's laughing. He's all calm down. That's why you get upset. Hold on.
So,
he used to disprove. We have talked about disproving things like this.
He was a great disprover of things like this. But I want you to show Jennifer why that was.
He just showed me money being taken and scams.
scams and charlatans and stuff like that. But were you, I've talked about this before, I don't think with Jennifer, but the idea of you heard your mother's voice at some point,
Yeah.
or I know when she passed away, she looked at
That's
you
the
and,
first thing that's the first impression he gave me.
oh,
Was
okay,
that.
go
Was-
ahead, talk
was-
about it.
Was his mother. That was who greeted him. But then he showed me a child. So I don't know if that was him showing me a memory of the child of him. You know,
As
I
a child? Well, let's ask him. Who was this child that you saw when you crossed over?
it was a younger brother or a younger sibling.
Okay.
That's
And
what
was that a surprise to you to realize there was life after?
yes and no.
And
Wanted
let's
to believe- he just showed me Harry D. Stanton. He wanted to believe, but he also couldn't take what people were doing though.
yeah, I understand. Did you ever hear voices when you were growing up?
Just like you said, from my mother.
Okay. And I know that your mom, there was a word that she said to you. I mean, because I just was looking it up. I don't know if you want to put it in Jennifer's head and you may not even remember. Isn't that funny? That's the way life is. I think she
I
said,
don't know.
go ahead.
I don't know, something like believe or belief.
Close. She said, forgive.
Forgive.
And
That's not
according to the bio.
that is not close at all. But he said
Okay.
believe in something. Like it made me feel like that, which would
Well, here's my point. She said that, and that's what he focused on. That allowed him to believe that she might continue on, and that's why he started, according to his bio, that's why he started the journey into proving charlatans, because
Right.
he wanted to believe that she still existed, and he went around trying to get people to talk to his mother, and because she had said her last word was forgive. You know, it's like Stephen Jobs' last words. You know, oh wow, oh wow. So it's almost like that's the first words as he went into the other side. So anyway, the point being, Harry, you did want to.
Mike, you did know that your mom was there. And he's just laughing. I'm like, yeah, there's another, you know, another side.
What do you want to tell people? Because you did mention the other day about continuing this conversation. What is it you want to let people know about the other side, or about your journey, or about life?
I have to stop being overwhelmed. You got to understand, I spent about an hour last night looking for 1920s dresses before a wedding I'm going to in Nashville at the end of May. My girlfriend's getting married. And anyway, it was just funny because he threw me right back into like the 20s when I was like.
Let me ask you about your wife. Her name was Bess.
So got sick. But
well, she passed away much later on. Yes, she was sick. It was I think it was
but is it something with the bones? Like I felt her bones too.
Well, it might have been. I don't know. I just read it, but the point is that she held a séance every year on the anniversary of your passing, Harry, for another whatever. She died. You died in 26. She died like in 47. So. And after 10 years of doing that, she famously gave up and let somebody else do the seance. But my question is, why didn't you reach out to her, or why was it so difficult to convince her that you still existed?
Ooh. He's saying, he goes, I kind of made her believe that it didn't exist when I was alive.
So very hard for her to.
Very hard for her to, from what I'm picking up on, and he goes, and I was almost like I was a dick. So hold on a second. She wanted to believe, but it didn't happen during the seance. He showed up to her once, it felt like.
In a dream or a waking state? Or
he was waiting there before she passed.
So he did show up eventually. Listen, we've done a lot of research on this. People's filters on the brain prevent them from seeing, hearing, sensing, all kinds of things.
What's happened to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever I'm involved in correlates usually to my day, but I never think of it like that. I kept laughing at all the magician stuff with the rest of development. It's just so funny to me. And then we're talking to Houdini, and I'm like, you think about things. It's a great learning moment. You get pictures and images, but the second you doubt it, it takes so much longer for them to come back in and say it, or come in and talk about it.
So that question about what is it you want to impart to people who are tuning into this, because look, there's a lot of people who are convinced that you know, were an
Well,
atheist or a
he's
skeptic, but
he's showing me. He first showed me Harry Dean again about what he thought.
right, he was, and just to reiterate, Harry Dean Stanton, we interviewed Harry. Harry was a famous skeptic and atheist. When I asked him what it was like on the flip side, realizing there was an afterlife, he went into an elaborate description, and he finally said, "Look, just tell people that they should consider the possibility that life goes on, and then they won't waste another minute of their life arguing about it like I did." So Harry Dean came to that realization on the flip side. Allow for the possibility that something exists beyond you, and then you don't have to spend your time arguing about it.
Correct.
Is that what you mean? Is that why you showed
Yeah,
her, Harry?
what he means, but let me see. He has these like piercing eyes. Give me a second. Wow. Say it one more time. It happens sooner than you think, death. But death is there to show you how to live life, how to live with so much more. We're constantly chasing death. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Meaning that he says, I was obsessed with it. He goes, it didn't allow a lot of things to come in. Similar to what I believe he's trying to say about like with what Harry Dean,
Yeah, because he was so focused on disproving it.
He was so focused on disproving it. He said that so many great things just went by him. He goes, that wasn't but that's just how it was, this lifetime.
No, but I mean, honestly, looking up the stories, there were a lot of people that he proved to be fake who really needed to be proven to be fake because they were
he said
creeps.
that's what he dealt with. But if he had a choice, thinking about heaven, how heavenly is that?
So let me ask you, Harry, have you run into any of those people that you debunked on the flip side?
Yeah, they all high-fived me and said you caught me.
And were you surprised to see anybody on the flip side that you didn't expect to see? Who would that be?
Yeah, I believe it was like his grandfather he's showing me somebody very, very religious. So I'm not sure.
Oh, that's right. His father was a rabbi.
Well,
his
I don't
father.
know.
Yeah, you don't know. His father was a rabbi in Wisconsin, very sort of famous rabbi, and he comes from and so it's very possible that his grandfather was also a rabbi, very religious family. So was that a surprise to see him?
He says, I was surprised in what they believed in was right for them.
Right for them. Yeah, exactly. That idea of, the hierarchy.
Right. I don't know if his parents had a divorce because
Well, they might have left the planet in different times, or they might have. Look, it was a different era. They might have had a hard time with each other.
I don't know. So let me find this. Obviously, I don't know anything. I know Houdini.
Yeah.
I actually used the reference Houdini this last weekend. I'm like, I'm always a Houdini when I'm out with my friends. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, okay, gotta go.
So, well, Harry, I'm leading you to a question, which is, when I talked to you the other day, you brought forward your friend Greta. Do you want to show Jennifer who that is?
Greta Gabe Garbo? What is
That's
Garbo?
correct. Yeah, well, there's not a lot of Gretas out there, but still, yes, Greta Garbo.
Yeah, she showed up before, and I said there's somebody with a deep voice.
That's her.
That's who
I
thought the dress
can
came
I just
from.
say
That is who I thought the dress came from.
Okay, and Jennifer doesn't know anything about Greta Garbo, but I do. Mainly also because I was just reading about her. So Greta, thank you for stopping by to chat with us. If you don't mind, we're going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Who was there to greet you when you crossed over?
All my animals, she said.
Very good.
All my animals. Hold on. And was she married 3 times? Or was
okay, and let's talk about your marriages. Did you prefer men or women?
All of it.
All of it. So, like people say, that you had both. And so, I know you didn't have any children. There's no point in me.
All her animals.
All
I
are
don't know.
animals.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you that I know for the audience. I know that she was beautiful. I loved her hair. Like I remember seeing pictures of her, but I don't know anything about who
Very
she is.
good. I'm going to ask you some other questions I didn't ask you the other day, which is, all right, Greta, you were with President Kennedy a week before he passed. Have you talked to him since you've been on the flip side?
Of course, we all do. That's why they showed me Marilyn Monroe because I couldn't get what that was. Okay.
Okay, very good. And so, what's your impression of what we're doing, what Jennifer and I are doing?
She loves it. She thinks it's complicated. She says more for us who want to reach the people down here. We make, I've never heard this word, we make it look easy.
You and I, Jennifer and I, make it
Like,
look easy.
today, not today.
Well, I didn't realize something about you, Greta. I knew that you're a recluse. I mean, that's what the word they use, but when I looked it up, I realized you
We like
weren't.
to have fun. And
You like, but you have.
But she was also avant-garde. She said she went against the grain, and so she wasn't somebody that you could control. And she goes, and men didn't like it, so they spread rumors about her.
But yeah, about her being a recluse and all that
I
stuff.
like to drink. Yes, I like to drink. Did I like to do other stuff? Yes. But she goes, I had to be responsible for my animals.
And I think at some point you used to hang out at a house not too far from where I physically am right now. Are you aware of that, or those people you used to hang out with?
Are you talking? It's not Hugh Hefner's place, right?
No. It's in she might be giving that image to you. She hung out with some people who lived in Santa Monica, and all the expatriates, from Europe also hung out there. All these famous people.
Are you talking about the Getty?
No, it's not a house you would know. It was just like some expatriates who lived about a block and a half from me in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And people don't know about it. I'm just saying, I just thought it was unusual because I know that a lot of Swedes moved to Santa Monica because she was here.
Yes, indeed. She loved the coast. She absolutely loved living by the water.
You were also a health food nut. You also you were a pioneer, and sort of like Gaylord Hauser was a friend of yours back in the 50s. So these are health food people who sort of pioneered the organic revolution. What's your impression about what people should be doing health wise on the planet now?
No processed food ever.
Okay.
And save the planet. Eat less meat, she's saying.
And what was it like to see your friend Harry, or to meet Harry? Because of course he passed, a long time before you did. You passed in 1990.
I was a baby.
Well, and he passed in the 20s. So,
right.
For him to say he was surprised to meet you on the flip side, which he said to me earlier, and now to realize, was it like your higher selves that already known each other, or how did that work out, your relationship with Harry?
Were they ever alive at the same time? They weren't, right?
Oh yeah. Well, she died when she was 85, so they were on the planet at the same time. She was a kid.
Because I feel like there was something about I feel Harry's obsession of fascination with her, like how he would be, like that's the connection, like he just knowing what he knows now, about her and her life.
Well, I mean, we have to allow. The point is, we try to make these things,
And
time.
I'm not okay.
No, I understand.
They knew each other. I'm not saying anything. He's just showing me his surprise. There's something that I felt like the reason why I asked you about the timeline was because I felt like they were in love sometime other before.
All right. Let's ask you that. Harry, did you know Greta from a previous lifetime?
Yes.
And Greta, did you remember Harry from a previous lifetime? You guys want to share with us where that was?
That's funny. She's like, didn't want to, but yes, he did have a disappearing act, I guess, in past lives.
So do you want to show us that, Greta? Where did you guys know each other? What was a previous lifetime for you before this one?
Oh, it was it was in Europe. I feel like I'm both Scotland and England.
Scotland and England.
Yeah.
Look, Harry's family's from Hungary.
Or London, I'm sorry.
Oh, London. Harry's family's from London. Harry, in that previous lifetime, can you access this as well? Did you know Greta back then? Is it in England or London?
Yeah,
So what year was it roughly?
it was like 1820.
And were you guys upper class, lower class, middle class?
Orphans.
Orphans, same roles, male, female?
She was more the male, but she was female.
And you were just friends. Is that correct? Or were you lovers?
We were lovers. It was a desperate time. I'm getting. I don't.
1820s London poverty. Yeah, that would be a tough time to be on the planet. But
We
here, the point is that here
playing.
they were aware of each other's journey. So even though their higher selves are aware, Harry goes on to great fame and Greta goes on to great fame, but sort of at different time periods, but still aware of each other. It's just fascinating to me that Harry would have brought Greta's name into this mix.
I know.
Greta, what do you want to tell the planet? What do you want to tell people?
She's so funny. Enjoy yourselves. Go out in the sun with the top down, whatever top you prefer. Take care of each other. That's the biggest thing she wants to say. Don't harbor any resentment towards each other or towards one another. She goes, that eats you up inside. It's poison. Stay beautiful and know who you are. Question everything. And just please keep planting trees.
So Lou, I'm gonna toss it back to you.
Right back to Houdini.
Okay, so very good. So Harry, let me ask you, Harry, how familiar are you with our work, if at all?
Not
Not at all. And so
until recently.
Until recently, yeah.
When he read a brochure that highlighted it over on the other side.
Yeah, are you joking? What do you mean you read a brochure? What's that mean?
He showed me sitting down like on an airplane, which I'm sure is a metaphor.
Uh-huh.
And reading something in a magazine, but it's like a metaphorical, obviously. Hold on, Quantum magazine. Give me a second.
Wow.
He says when you get enough of a pull, meaning like your spirit's being pulled, you tend to figure out where it's coming from. Like I said, and then he showed me saying Houdini this weekend.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the whole Greta thing, or the 1920s when I was looking last night for an outfit.
Right. And then also this kind of unusual conversation I had a week ago Sunday, where he showed up, like I said,
there was enough being pulled that he asked around.
So, and now I just want to talk to you about that for a second. So what's your opinion of what we're doing? Now, are you aware or familiar with what we're doing in terms of seeing Luana? And are you seeing the classroom that we have assembled?
It's the data, he says.
So like you're seeing numbers,
no,
ones and zeros?
He also says all the cool people that are over there in our classroom.
Okay.
Hold on. No hierarchy. Again, they're saying no hierarchy about
about who's famous, who's not, Elvis, whatever. It's all relative, of course, because he was born in the 1870s. And so, fame is like a relative thing for him as well.
Hold on. He says, first of all, Luana knows everyone, or knows somebody that knows everyone. I know all the things. Like I was with a client today whose son said a name for her horse, and it came off as E-Rider. And his name is Eddie. We've talked about him before. And I'm like, Easy Rider. Like we brought up Luana again and brought up the movie again.
Right.
And in totally different, it's something that's interesting because he's the first person that has shown me, like, it's a pool, and we've talked about it. So it's the same as an essence of someone. Like if you get enough of it, just like in consciousness, if people are praying or chanting or doing things for a whole group, that essence is going over there. So if you get pulled in a different direction, you're going to come back. Like that's how he said it. He goes, I was talked enough about, or I was given enough tagging, like people nagging.
Like tags. Yeah, sure. Enough tags sort of made him show up on the doorstep to go, what do you guys want to talk about?
Absolutely.
But so does that happen? Like, for example, if somebody's watching a movie about you, would you show up at their house or
Kind of. If it was a relative. Um,
somebody whose frequency you know?
right. He goes, I can show up, but they don't know that I'm there and they won't believe that I'm there. So that's kind of a waste of time. But I might leave something that makes them think of me that he did show up.
I see. And so I just want to clarify this part. The fact that a week ago Sunday I was visiting my friend and I had been writing about you in the morning on my computer, something else, a project.
That Saturday by chance?
That was a Sunday.
Okay.
But I was writing about him on a Saturday. Yeah. And the next day, Sunday, I went to see my friend and then she just apropos of nothing said, Houdini's here. And I said, how familiar are you with Houdini? She was like, I don't know anything about him. Other than he was.
And I said that I was Houdini on Saturday night. So that was.
So, but let me ask you about that, Harry. I mean, it sounds like I'm broadcasting how cool we are, but what's.
No.
I know, but it sounds like that.
Clearly the first half of this, when I didn't understand what I was being shown, wasn't like, hey, I'm cool, I got it. Like.
Right. But that's what makes it so real. What we're doing so real. The idea that you can talk to somebody on the flip side that you're connected to, that's great. And you can allow that it's possible to talk to them. And so you practice. And so here we are practicing in a way. And for those who aren't familiar with Luana Anders, she was an actress, my close friend who passed in 1996. She was an Easy Rider. And in an odd way, I got to meet everybody that she knew on the movie over the course of our relationship together for 20 years. And then she passed away in 1996 and started showing up very specifically and demonstrating, not only to me, but to members of my family, that she still exists. And then when I met Jennifer 15 years later, 20 years later, Jennifer said, your friend is here, and started referring to Luana. So that's how Luana's doing the same thing Jennifer's doing. So go ahead. What is Harry? So Harry, the platform is yours, brother, unless you want to let Greta come back in.
He's just said there's not that many good there's not that many good magicians anymore.
Really? What? So out of like your top three, who do you like? Are you a fan of Blaine or are you a fan of?
He says Blaine's too easy, but he says he's going to regret saying that.
Oh, what do you think about Penn and Teller? Your thoughts.
I have no idea who they are.
That's okay.
That one person or
no? It's two different people.
Okay.
And they're in Vegas, and I've seen them, and they're adamant about
fantastic. They're fantastic.
Fantastic. Oh, very good. But they're also adamant about you can't talk to anybody in the flip side because it doesn't exist. But that's all right.
But that keeps them protected.
That's true. That's true. So
believe.
Okay. But I want to ask you a question. I read something this morning about you being able to breathe, for 3 minutes underwater, that you had learned how to slow your breath down. How did you learn how to do that?
Asphyxiation.
You mean a memory of asphyxiating in a previous lifetime, or because you were? I
almost feel like it was something holding your neck, like asphyxiation.
Well, he would do these stunts, upside down. Actually, he started off as a magician. You probably don't know that much about him, but he started off as a magician in Wisconsin. And somewhere along the line, somebody who was booking him said, look, you need to do escape routines. And he became world famous. He went over to England.
It's Houdini. We get it.
Yeah. And so that whole idea, and he named himself after a French guy named Houdin or whatever, and he added the E, I think, they say, because it was like a son of Houdin. But apparently he had an experience with the widow of this great magician. Do you want to talk about that, Harry, or is that not interesting to you? Not interesting.
He saw her when he was underwater. Like he saw her. That's
well, I know he went to France to make an appointment to see her because he wanted to pay respects to the man who he named himself after. Wanted to go to the cemetery.
But why do I feel like that person wasn't there?
She would not see him at first. So
Okay.
I think he wrote a letter about her dissing him.
Totally. I don't know this. It's just what he said.
You couldn't. No, he was pretty upset about it. He wrote a whole thing. Apparently, Harry had a,
He said he's a little bit embarrassed by it too.
Okay, let's just talk about that, because you did have a reputation for going after people who either disrespected you or mocked you or whatever, and you would go after them. Other magicians.
Like he did everyone. Nobody, like.
Was that a competitive thing? Is that what you were doing?
So he said it was a righteous thing. I'm like, you mean justice thing? And he goes, no, a righteous thing.
So an ego-based thing.
Narcissistic thing, yeah.
Okay. And have you run into Houdin, whatever his name is?
He grabbed me and got me out of there.
Okay. So when you passed away suddenly from peritonitis at age 52, Houdin was there to yank you home. Very good.
My mom was. But
his mom was, okay.
He was the easy landing. So he was the.
Once he saw him there, that became. And so what was your conversation like? Have you guys, I mean, did you share?
Die from this? He said he threw a pity party for like an hour. There's no time, but whatever.
Well, I mean, listen, I want to talk about that for a second, because it is in the research that when people have a firm belief about what's going to happen, they sort of experience that at first, like a pity party, oh my gosh, you're dead. Da, da, da. And then after about an hour, let's say, if everybody's celebrating, cheering, everything kind of dies down and the broom comes out and they got to sweep up, the party favors. What was your experience once you realized, oh, I'm home?
That I was wrong, but also that I was supposed to be wrong to help out those people that were getting taken by charlatans.
Yeah.
And how magnificent it was to be home. Like it was more beautiful than the eye could see.
And have you traveled around to other realms and other universes? And
constantly, I'm doing a Houdini right now. I go back and forth. Like he's showing me. He wants to know everything about the universe.
Would you mind telling us some of the unusual things that you've seen or that were surprising to you?
My dad's teacher, he's just showing me the lady with all.
Okay, very good. All right, because
I understood it, but it was different. He goes, you have an understanding. It's like understanding English and and Spanish and
Latin.
Yeah, Latin. He goes, it's kind of like, he goes, that's how you look at it, only it looks different. Like it's different types of creatures.
Yeah. So and just so people understand, when Jennifer and I had a conversation with her dad, he brought her to a classroom that he goes to on the flip side, and introduced us to his teacher, who we later asked if her name was Ma Durga, which is a person in Hindu literature. And she said it was, but she has 8 arms. And so it was a little bit, and her father, Jennifer's father, Jim, said, now don't be freaked out by when you see the teacher.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, what does that mean? So let me ask, go ahead. Sorry.
It was fascinating to see. And he just showed me that, but hold on.
But Harry, are you taking any classes?
Yeah. Time travel. So
show me the class.
He showed me going into a black hole, like what I recognize as black hole. I don't know if that's what it was or is.
Uh-huh.
He wants to know about the speed of everything, stars, planets, the sun, moon, like everything. He wants to know the mathematics about everything. And he says he has his own private tutor, apparently.
And who is the private tutor, if you don't mind me asking?
Right now, it feels like my dad.
Wow. So, but let's just talk about a classroom that you've been into, Harry. How many people are in the class?
It was with my dad. It was with my dad with the
woman. Oh, so did you actually physically see this teacher?
Yes.
And the way it was described to us, it was an astrophysics class in deep space. And what's your impression?
He tried to show me. But he was there before, obviously, before my dad was.
Right.
We meet afterwards.
Wow. Well, that's a fascinating thing. So
The classroom brought them together because they had the knowledge to share.
very good. And so what are some of the, so in one of the things you've learned in class with Maunt Durga, we'll just call her that, our teacher whom we met, very wise and
Limitless.
just amazing. So but just give us a little bit of a formula for time. I understand what you mean by time travel, meaning stepping outside of time and being able to go and move and be around in time. Is that correct? Or do you mean in terms of acceleration and speeding up past the speed of
All
light?
of it.
All of it.
He showed me the quantum theory. He showed me everything.
Okay, quantum theory would be a perfect example. Quantum entanglement, meaning you can be simultaneously in two places at the same time.
Correct.
So would you go? Where do you go hang out? If you were going to go somewhere, let's say, we're going to go on a trip and we're going to go visit somewhere.
Church. Hold on.
Church?
There. Lilydale.
Lilydale. Okay, which is, go describe what Lilydale is.
So Lilydale is like a psychics Disneyland. It's a spiritualist community that there's all these mediums. People travel all over the world to come see over summertime in northern New York, in upstate New York. It was also a big part of the suffragette movement. Like Susan B. Anthony was there. Like there's a bunch of people that had huge contributions to certain movements, not just that one, but
sure.
He was obsessed with what happened, like with the movement. So he has spent a lot of time there.
So let's just say, like the brochure that's in the magazine that you're flipping through in the airplane. Hey, let's go to Lilydale. What's a time period or a time frame that you might choose to examine? If one, or maybe it's many, I don't know.
He just showed me, you remember, so the guy from Ghostbusters whose dad did seances, who did this whole book.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah.
Thank you. That time period where his dad.
Oh, okay. So in, I would say probably 1920s, 30s,
yeah,
40s.
like right after. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. I'm guessing because Stan's like my age. And I don't know how old I am. So, okay. And so Lilydale in that era. So it was like thrilling, or was it exciting, or what was it?
It was, why? Hold on. It was depressing because he said I was not right. A lot of things.
Being corrected. Yeah, that's always difficult. Let me ask you a little bit about.
Kept on trying to find loopholes.
I see. Like,
I mean,
for instance, yeah, I understand. Like to get out of it's like getting out of a quiz. Like, well, on the other hand, no, there is no other hand, Harry. Bess was the name of your wife, and like I mentioned in the first part of our segment, that she had done seances, for like a long time. What's Bess up to? What's she doing?
We're traveling together throughout the universe. It feels like she's here.
Oh,
she was very mad because I didn't give her much to go on when I left.
So what was it like for you, Bess, when Harry showed up? When you crossed over and
she said she knew it.
She knew it all along. Okay, yeah. Very good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but she didn't trust it when she was here because of his doubts.
Yeah. No, and also, I know she was trying to have contact with him. And of course, contact means different things for different people. In Jennifer's case, it could be a wind coming through the room, or a breeze, or a smell. I mean, that could be a direct contact, as opposed to, somebody's voice going,
hello,
where's my pizza? I heard my father's voice the night he passed away, and he said, I'm experiencing indescribable joy. I heard it clear as a bell. It was a sentence I'd never heard him say before. It was new information. And subsequently, we talked to him about it. So, but have you talked to anybody, Harry? Have you been able to do that kind of tap into their brain telepathically to talk?
I feel like it's a cousin.
Oh.
It's a cousin of his.
Okay.
2 cousins down, it's a cousin from Wisconsin. He was born when he died, kind of thing.
Okay.
And he's seen him, it feels like.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's lovely. And Harry, let me ask you, how come you didn't let us win the lottery numbers yesterday? I think it was $400 million or something.
Because
were-
because that's not how it works. It's not that mathematical equation. Hold on. He says, because if you won it, you would have died earlier. You would have died sooner.
I said to somebody today, oh, somebody's life was ruined yesterday, $400 million. Because, 90% of everybody who wins the lottery wishes they
Right.
hadn't.
Right.
So this poor person is going to have to figure out, how to navigate that. So let's just talk about that for a second, Harry. People on the planet really get really concerned about coincidence. They get really concerned about, talking to people on the other side. What's your advice for them to sort of find a way into this information without having to wear a pyramid hat?
Just don't be discouraged when you don't feel someone on the other side. It's not necessarily you. It could be the energy of the planet. Like we're going into an eclipse, on Saturday, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of inflamed energy. We're always around. It just might be that you're busy or that you have other things going on. And even if you're completely, he's showing me, even if you completely concentrate on the person, it doesn't leave much room for them to come in and surprise you. So that usually leads to not a failure or
or miscommunication, not a connection.
Right. If you're constantly thinking that you can't feel them, then the universe lets you think that way.
So Harry, what would you recommend? What should people do? Should they meditate? Should they go see a hypnotherapist? Go see a medium? What's the best logical?
It's like not a medium. He's kidding. Says find a recommended medium. Like find
somebody highly recommended. Yeah.
I actually heard him say me. I said thank
like you. Jennifer. Well, I listen.
And he said clearly by her performance would make you a little bit worrisome if you only listen to this episode. But
well, wait a second. Hey, hold on. Hang on.
If you took the essence of what I do and
I didn't say his last name. I did not say his last name. You said his last name.
Hey, I don't even know his first name was Harry. So we have that, right?
Oh wow. Oh, there you go. Because I said his name is Harry, and you said, is he a magician? Yeah. Hello.
I kept getting Houdini, but I also kept getting shown the brother.
Harry Dean Stanton, right? Because Harry Dean is somebody. But this, just to explain to people, sometimes Jennifer will see the name of the person that we're trying to find in the guise of the person. So seeing Harry Dean Stanton would be.
But that was also the way he was a skeptic. So it was a.
That's true. That's right. That's right. So two things: Harry and skeptic.
And I saw Arrested Development, and the brother that was the magician. That's what showed up.
Bing. So there you. And so not everybody's going to add that up. You see.
No.
So. That's why you need me to be in all of your conversations.
Correct. They're not always going to be a Richard. Believe me.
And Greta as well. You don't know any Gretas, and you said her last name. I didn't say it. So,
they show me like exactly what I was looking at last night. It's crazy because all of the things that I've been doing, they show me over the last week. But Houdini, the fact that I said I was in Houdini and talked to my friends about that, and then. Which I haven't mentioned his name for a year. I can't remember a time where I've mentioned his name, and that was Saturday.
And let's just, for all intent, there's no person listening to this who's ever going to say, oh my gosh, they were talking to Houdini. It's like when we talk to Elvis. They're like, what? But instead of focusing on the name, focus on the content of what he's saying, which is, and now you did say something with when I was talking to you via my friend the other day, and I want to repeat it, and Jennifer doesn't have to know it. Let me just say it, that you said, I said, any message you want to pass along to the planet, and you said, everything is an illusion.
It's true.
Which is a brilliant way of saying the nature of reality. I mean, it's Buddhist, it's, whatever, philosophical.
It's our construct to keep us here. The illusion is what makes us, the illusion is what we're we're missing the reality because it is an illusion.
So let me ask you, does that mean, but I mean, if everything's an
I know.
illusion, well, so that also means you're on the flip side, it's an
It means
illusion
that
as
you
well.
can change it. You can change the outcome. That's what I mean
Ah,
by that. That's
that's
interesting.
very profound. All right. So, Harry, I want to bring your friend Greta back because she said something equally I thought was profound.
Save the planet. I don't remember.
She said, matter does not matter, which
No,
was a very clever way of saying, from astrophysics, the essence of matter are atoms agreeing to hold space. But if you focus on the thing, it doesn't matter. And actually, then I found a sentence, or a quote of her saying, "You want to know where I was born? You want to know what school I went to? You want to know who I was married to? None of that matters." And she would say things like that. So matter doesn't matter. So Greta, do you want to expand upon that, Mademoiselle?
your heart matters. What you believe matters. What's here, whether you see it or not, there's things that go in front of you. That's why people get hit by cars because they don't see the car, right? This part of it, yes, you need to be aware. It's your essence that you leave with. It's your essence that how good you are to other people, how much you love other people, how much you love yourself. That's going to help you throughout life.
Okay, very good. It's a clarification. It's not like a nihilist thing of saying nothing matters. It means that the things that you add emotions to aren't what you think they are. So therefore, you can't allow them to rule your life or control your life. Love matters. That's a very nice expansion of that concept. I appreciate that.
Love matters. It's the only thing that ultimately matters because it's the only thing that you take with you.
And Greta, have you been back since you left?
No, darling.
How about Harry? I didn't ask you that, brother. You've been back on the planet?
I just saw this one that I think he was married to Claudia Schiffer. Right?
Yeah. I had dinner with him. I can't think of his name. Yes, I know you're talking about the great.
Yeah, that's him. He says that's part of him.
Oh, so part of how much of your conscious energy is in that guy? Because he's on the planet.
Like 10%, maybe.
Wow.
He just says that's part of, he's part of his soul.
Yeah, I understand. So the idea of the energy or the frequency of who he is, a portion of his is here with that guy he did some of the stunts that you did, Harry. I think one of the most famous ones was making an elephant disappear. So this is a guy who's also made, like elephants disappear. So it's interesting. Did you inspire him with that one? So what do you want to? What do you want to? What do you want to? While I look this up, what do you want to tell Greta? What do you want to tell the planet? What should people be talking about or thinking about?
Themselves and how to help others in any way or any means. To be kind. She keeps saying to be kind. And the planet is the most important thing that we ever need to think about. We're destroying it for future generations, which is technically ourselves.
Right, because we might come back.
It's pretty much a given.
Pretty much a given. David Copperfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I apologize to David Copperfield fans. I literally had dinner with him and Peter Beard in New York City, and he was hilarious. Very funny, charming, nice guy. Straight up guy. We didn't talk about magic, and wasn't the topic. But anyways, I don't think he remembers me. I was just one of a few at the table. But still, that being said, so Greta, that was your comment. Harry, what do you want to tell the planet? What do you want to tell people here?
He's showing me like hunkering down and like touching like the dirt and the land. He's like, get into reality. Feel what life is about. Like be part of life. Like stop being on your phones all the time. Stop using get out in nature, go feel the water, go feel things that are not going to be there possibly later. Go.
I understand. They're tactile things, and it's,
yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Harry. That's why we come to the planet, to taste and smell and fall in love and hold hands and have that cappuccino and have that slice
Yeah.
of pizza that you can create on the flip side, but it just don't taste the same.
He says that it's much get out like this is how I've been feeling. Like I have felt like whenever I do things or if I feel like I'm wasting time, I feel like that's where we're going to be judged. Are you wasting time in your bedroom? Are you wasting time with nonsense? Are you okay? Well, the bedroom's different. Okay, Never, Richard.
Wait a minute. There's a comedy series in that.
I know, but are you wasting time not being with loved ones? Are you wasting time not being like? Granted, if you need to go to sleep, like I'm not saying.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like you're focused on whatever it is, anger, upset, somebody.
Am I going to be judged for wasting time? If we could look at that, am I going to be like? That's my fear. I don't know if it's anybody else's, but I don't ever want to take the chance of being accused of wasting time because I wasn't with like when I should have been spending more time with my daughter.
Right. Focusing on things that aren't important. I do want to say that we had a conversation once with John Hughes, and he said that nobody comes over to the flip side wishing they had done less. Correct. In their lifetime.
Wishing they would have held back.
That they would have held back. So but then you do get into this area of like, you don't want to just be crazy and running around and doing everything, upending tables wherever you go.
Right.
But you do want to experience things that you can teach others or learn from them. Or as Greta said, it's about the heart, things of the heart. So if you're going to focus on.
Yes. Are you focused on the past and wasting time on the past? Or are you moving ahead, going forward and making your life and somebody else's life better by being who you are? Greta is just like Houdini's. That's so funny. Ooh, now I know it's Harry.
Harry and Greta. We love it.
Houdini said he just showed me like taking away the planet and that we're doing it naturally. Like he doesn't have to pull he
doesn't have to pull the rug out because we're doing it. We're just making it disappear.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that's pretty dark, Harry. Come on. Give us the positive spin on that, which is look what's on the carpet
we can change
it. Very good. Well, we really appreciate you stopping by, both of you. I know this is a little unusual. And Luana, thank you so much for inviting them to come in and continue this conversation. Like I say, we left it up to Luana, and when she said that there's somebody that I have, had spoken to recently, I knew exactly who she was talking about. And I did a little bit of research so that I would at least be able to talk about their families. And I'm sorry I didn't do more, and for the people out there who wish that we had asked certain questions, ask them yourself.
Ask them yourself.
Just take the time to meditate on them and imagine them sitting across from you and ask them a question and don't judge the answer.
So he's just saying the reason why he loved magic is because it made sense of the illusion.
Wow. I like it.
Believe in magic. Believe in magic.
Believe in magic.
Believe in magic. It is like my daughter, for instance, who wants to be an astrophysicist. She says, I love physics because it makes math make sense. Right?
Yeah.
Being a magician because it made the illusion make sense.
Very good. Because it made reality make sense on some level because he understood how to manipulate it.
Correct.
Beautifully said. All right. Well, I know Jennifer's got to go. And thank you. Thanks for everybody. So Greta Garbo, Heidoa, which is Swedish for see you later. And Harry, you're from Wisconsin. So, cheese for everybody. And Jennifer and Luana, thank you for making this whole unusual conversation happen. We love you, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
Love.
Love, love.
Bye. This has been Hacking the Afterlife podcast with Jennifer Schaefer. For more information, jenniferschaefer.com, martinizone.com, or richmartini.com. Hacking the Afterlife documentary is available on Gaia.com via Amazon Prime.